Something amazing happened in Los Angeles yesterday. Bill Malugin, who used to be at the local Fox station in LA, now he's a national reporter for Fox News. He has the story. Take a look at this. It's amazing, unprecedented, actually, in the last 15, 20 years here.
In a Fox exclusive, you're watching an incredibly rare interaction as the jail in Los Angeles transfers an illegal alien to ICE custody. The sanctuary jurisdiction forced to hand this Mexican national over thanks to a first-of-its-kind federal operation.
With this operation, we're going to be neutralizing California sanctuary state policies.
Bill Asaley is the U.S. attorney in L.A. and the architect of Operation Guardian Angel.
California is the testing ground on this. We are one of the largest sanctuary jurisdictions.
All right, guys, thanks for circling up.
So how does it work? Asaley has created a federal task force made up of ICE, HSI, FBI, DEA, and ATF, all working together out of this office in downtown LA.
How's his criminal history? He's got the domestic violence.
They scan these criminal databases daily to find illegal aliens in local jails who have been previously deported from the United States.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
If they've returned to the U.S., they've committed a federal felony known as illegal reentry. And Asaley's office will immediately seek a criminal arrest warrant against them, which, unlike an ICE detainer, sanctuary jails can't ignore.
We're going to flood the system with warrants for criminal illegal immigrants that are in county jails. They can ignore a detainer, but they cannot ignore a criminal arrest warrant.
The federal task force brought us with them as they went to Twin Towers Jail in downtown LA to take custody of a previously deported alien they found in their database and filed a warrant on. He was facing local charges for robbery, but the sanctuary jail immediately handed him over to ICE, with California's sanctuary policies unable to protect him from the criminal warrant.
They have no choice. They will comply. And if they don't comply, if they interfere in our ability to arrest a federal felon, they can expect to face consequences.
And the task force tells us once they're up and running at full steam, they project they're going to be able to arrest between 40 and 50 aliens from local sanctuary jails here in SoCal every single week. Now, if this is successful here in Los Angeles, the task force says this could be used as a model to neutralize other sanctuary jurisdictions all across the country, guys. We'll send it back to you.
You bet. Bill Malugin live in Los Angeles with that for us. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you indeed. And thank you to the new administration. This is and that U.S. attorney in Los Angeles. It's brilliant to see. And this is the use of the law to actually have an ironclad way of getting the bad guys out of here. I understand something. Were it not for this U.S. attorney and this novel way of ensuring that these criminals are being arrested, handled over to federal authorities, and then eventually prosecuted and deported, Democrats, let's just be clear. Sorry, I know a lot of people hate, no, it's always partisan, it's always Republican, Democrat. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. Democrats who run Los Angeles, one-party rule, run the state of California, one-party rule, Democrats would have those criminals do their time in the local county or state penitentiary, and then they'd be walking on the streets again. If they had their way, that's exactly what they would do. Because as far as they're concerned, nobody should be deported. These are people who have not only been deported once, but they entered the country illegally again and then committed crimes. They've got them in custody. And if they had their way, they would just stay. Keep the criminals. Absolutely. Keep them here because, Maryland man, right? And by the way, because they've set up sanctuary policies, what they've done right now with these sanctuary policies is they've told local law enforcement that they do not have to cooperate with ICE, federal officials, with regard to a deportation order, right? And so the way that's played out is that orderly transfer of a prisoner that you just saw in handcuffs from one law enforcement entity to a federal law enforcement entity handled within the safe confines of a jail. Instead, what happens is they let the person out. They go into a neighborhood down in South Central LA or East LA. ICE agents go to get them there. They have to bring 20 because it's an unsafe situation. They face potential danger and potential violence when they go and knock on a door and try to go in and apprehend the person. Oh, and by the way, when they go into that house to apprehend the one criminal that could have been transferred peacefully in the jail, well, when they go into that house, everybody there is now subject to deportation. And everyone in that house has their IDs checked, has their papers checked. And if they were there harboring a criminal and they're here in the country illegally, they are now facing deportation. So the very thing that Democrats are trying to prevent from happening happens specifically because of their sanctuary policies. But the reason this works is because this is not a federal deportation order that the local law enforcement is ignoring. This is a criminal warrant. And if they resist or ignore a criminal warrant, they go to jail. So they're going to follow this. It's absolutely brilliant. You know how I know it's brilliant? Because it's making all the right people sad.
Don't feel well. This woman, who we will call Maria, says she did not want to use her real name, concerned she could be targeted. But she does want people to know her story.
No deseo ir para atrás.
She told us, I don't want to go back. She's a mother of 3 children who are American citizens. She asked us not to show them. Maria arrived from Honduras in February of 2005. 2 months later, she had an order to leave the country after not appearing at a hearing, but she never left. I asked her why she did not go to the hearing.
Yo le dije al oficial, yo no tengo familia.
I told the immigration officer I don't have any family in this country or a specific place to stay. She told me she entered the U.S. through California.
Pero en ningún momento me llegaron ningún documento.
I never received any document, and they did not know where I was going to be. This month, she received this letter at her house in South Florida. She has been fined for more than $1.82 million.
It says that the government could fine an individual, an undocumented individual, daily $500.
Michelle Sanchez is Maria's attorney. She showed us the document Maria received.
They're supposed to say on the date that she was advised, and this is blank because they never advised her of the penalties.
Okay.
So that's going to be my argument.
The 1952 Act has historically rarely been enforced, but in February, the Trump administration announced it will penalize people living in the U.S. illegally under that act.
What she has is an order of removal in her absence.
Is that still accumulating even today?
Yes. It's
So
still
that figure
accumulating.
is increasing.
It could increase. For me, that is absolutely nuts.
Sanchez filed a motion to reopen her client's case last year under a policy of the Biden administration, giving ICE attorneys the discretion to reopen cases and lift removal orders. Have you ever been arrested?
Nunca.
When I asked her if she would voluntarily return to her home country,
Me dolería tanto dejar mis hijos.
it would be extremely painful to be separated from my children. This is their country. This is all they know. Please have mercy. I want to stay with them.
Okay, so a couple things about this report. And the most important thing is right at the very beginning. So let's listen to it again, shall we?
Feel well. This woman, who we will call Maria, says she did not want to use her real name, concerned she could be targeted. But she does want people to know her story.
No deseo ir para atrás.
She told us, I don't want to go back. She's a mother of 3 children who are American citizens. She asked us not to show them. Maria arrived from Honduras in February of 2005.
Okay, there it is. 2005. 20 years. She's been in the country 20 years. Now, you may hear that and say, wow, she's been here 20 years. Let her stay. She's established herself. She's put her roots down. You know, there's some people will hear that. I hear it and I think, holy crap, 20 years? You've been in the country 20 years? You should have been deported over a decade ago. By the way, just as an aside, she's been here 20 years and she still doesn't speak English? Not even one word? Not even, I mean, forgive me, but if you're going to be in a country for 20 years where the native language is English, don't you think you should learn that language? I would like to think that if I go to a foreign country and live there for 20 years, I will learn their language. So much so that if I'm interviewed by a reporter 20 years later, I can actually conduct myself in the country's native language. But let's set that aside for a second. She's been in the country 20 years illegally. 2 months after she entered the country illegally, she was supposed to appear for a hearing, and she didn't show. Now, what have we been hearing from Democrats for the last 3 months now about the Trump administration's use of the law, existing law? This is an existing law they're using to find this woman, and deport her. What have we been hearing all the time? Due process. Due process. Where's the due process? They should have due process. Everyone deserves due process. Well, guess what? This is due process. She came into the country illegally. She was ordered to come for a hearing. 2 months later, the hearing happened. She never showed. That's it. She's done. That's due process. You don't show up for your hearing, you don't get a makeover. You don't get a do-over. You try that with a parking ticket. Try it with a speeding ticket. Try it with an IRS audit. You can't get away with it. How come they can? I know that report was set up to show some sort of sympathy and say, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Look what's happening. Listen, I get it. She's not going to pay $1.2 million in fines. Here's what's going to happen. Okay, listen, we can settle this. You want to settle? Okay, of course, we'll settle this. Pay us $1.2 million or hear me out. Self-deport. Go home. Just go home. And maybe if you go home yourself, we'll have a way of figuring out how to bring you back. Oh, you don't want to be separated from your children? That's fine. They can go with you. Sorry. For those of you who think that that's cold and heartless and it's terrible policy, you have a point. Blame Joe Biden. Blame Kamala Harris. Blame Alejandro Mayorkas. If they had actually effectively enforced our laws and not allowed millions and millions and millions and millions of people come into this country, then this wouldn't be necessary. Don't blame the people who are actually finally enforcing the laws on the books. That's not how this works. All right, so more people are crying because the law is being enforced. You want to see more cries, more tears? Okay.
One of them, Carlos, narrowly avoided being caught. Speaking through an interpreter, he described the emotional toll.
When I started seeing the scene, I started crying. The tears started leaving. We're here. We're human beings. We're only here to support ourselves and to maintain our families.
According to Carlos and other witnesses, the raid unfolded just around 8 a.m. as ICE agents arrived in both marked and unmarked vehicles, rounding up workers from the parking lot.
It took 15 to 20 day laborers who were only here asking for work. It is unjust, it is immoral, and it should be a crime.
The raid sparked swift backlash.
Hold on a second. So, oh, wow, those are really professionally printed signs you organic and spontaneous protesters have. And what's with the face masks outside years after the pandemic? I think we know what's with the face masks. They don't want you to know their identity. That should be against the law. Really impressive professional signs. So let's be clear here. The law enforcement officials who are actually enforcing our law, they're the ones who are acting criminally. You got to be a member of the organized left or a member of the media or have some sort of advanced degree from one of America's liberal arts colleges to figure out the rational logic behind that statement. What they're doing should be against the law. They're literally enforcing the law. Literally. These are ICE agents who are finding people who are in the country illegally, rounding them up, and deporting them. And there's a key piece of evidence here that's going to enforce the reason why they should be deported. Okay, let's watch this real fast. It's a short clip, and it's only in the first half here. But let's see, since you're a regular viewer of this program, if you can pick up on the clue that should actually be the perfect piece of evidence to fast track their deportation. Right? Watch.
Carlos narrowly avoided being caught. Speaking through an interpreter, he described the emotional toll.
When I started seeing the scene, I started crying. The tears started leaving. We're here. We're human beings. We're only here to support ourselves and to maintain our families.
We're, by the way, I like the Bitcoin hat. You buying crypto, dude? Day labor at Home Depot with Bitcoin. We're only here to get a job and to support our families. That's the clue. Because, see, you watch this show, you know that entering this country illegally is against the law. And you know that the only reason we were told that people can stay here is because they have an asylum claim and they want to have a hearing so that they can get asylum status as refugees. And you also know that the only grounds for refugee status and asylum in America have to do with you're fleeing your country because you're being persecuted due to your race, due to your religion, or if you're fleeing political prosecution and political persecution, or if there was a natural disaster. The one major reason that you cannot claim asylum, that will be rejected out of hand, that would just get sent out of the courtroom straight to the bus and right back to your home country, is if you claim refugee status or the desire for asylum because of economic conditions. Because hear me out. If we granted refugee status and asylum to every single individual on planet Earth that needs economic relief from their conditions, we would be opening up our borders to 97% of the population. You may have a terrible financial situation and employment situation in your country. I'm sorry for that. And honestly, you should probably do something to change the conditions in your country if you can. But you do not have the right to come to our country to better your economic conditions. The second you tell a judge that that's why you're here, I'm sorry, you're gone. And they just admitted it. They think that that's some sort of like great defense. Why are they coming after us to deport us? We're only here to get a job and have a better life. Oh, goodbye. Because you don't come here illegally and jump the line and screw all the people who were trying to come here legally for the very same reason. You don't do that. And if you admit to it, which you just did, dude, through an interpreter, you're gone. You're 100% gone. And it drives me insane that the organized left, elected officials in the Democrat Party, and people in the media don't know that. See, if I were producing this report for Channel 7 in Los Angeles, I would have had my anchor or my reporter in the narration say, of course, anyone in the country illegally for purely economic reasons are subject to deportation immediately. Because that's the truth. That's the fact. That's the law. And they just admitted to it. Now, Tom Homan, your border czar, was on Fox and Friends this morning, and he picked up these stories about various different efforts of the Trump administration to enforce our existing laws and deporting people. And he has some advice for people who are seeing these reports, and they're brought to tears as well, and they're worried and they're scared that ICE and DHS is coming after them next. He has advice for you. Take a watch.
Because if they don't, they're going to face serious consequences. You know, what we started doing, we're enforcing two laws that we haven't enforced in a long time. Number one, failing to register. If you don't fail to register after 90 days of being here, we're going to prosecute you criminally. Then we're going to deport you. And if you hinder your arrest, if you don't open the door, if you don't answer our questions, if you don't assist in travel documents to your home nation after being ordered deported by the immigration judge, we're going to prosecute you for that, which is 8 U.S.C. 1253. So we'll prosecute you. We'll put you in prison. When you get out, we'll deport you. We're not playing games. There are going to be consequences. Leave on your own. If you leave on your own and work with us and get your affairs in order, it makes sense for them and their families, and leave yourself an opportunity to come back to this country as a visitor or as a student, or if you have a U.S. citizen child, they can petition for you as a parent of a U.S. citizen. There are other avenues to come to this country the right way. But if we have to formally deport you, we got to go find you, and we got to put you on a plane and formally deport you. There are consequences. There are bars from 5 years to 20 years. You can't come back. Some of the bars are forever. So leave on your own and give yourself some opportunity in the future to be part of the greatest country on earth.
That's the bottom line. And that's a clear message. And it's the perfect solution to all of those tears. Are you worried? Are you scared? You're upset? Okay, we can alleviate all of those fears. Get your affairs in order, check in with DHS, and let them know you're leaving, and leave. And then you can go through the process of coming in legally if you so choose. That's the bottom line. And again, it may seem harsh, it may seem horrible. Don't blame Trump for actually enforcing the law. You don't like those laws? Hey, run politicians to get into Congress and change the law. Love to see you try. Maybe you should run someone for president who will promise not to enforce laws. Oh, you just did that, didn't you? And we see how that worked out for you. But that's the only solution. Blame the last president for ignoring our laws. They create the chaos that we're in right now. That's how we get here. That's how we get here. You don't like the fact that the laws are being robustly enforced with not as much compassion as you would like? Well, first of all, I think it's pretty uncompassionate to the people who are trying to come into this country illegally, trying to get into the country legally. Why don't you have compassion for them? And I also certainly think that you're not showing much compassion for the people who can't find work because the jobs are going to lower wage people from other countries, or, of course, the victims of crimes of illegal immigrants who come into this country against our laws. Maybe you should show some compassion for them, but the compassion only seems to go in one direction. But if you think that it's bad, that the law is being enforced without any level of compassion, fine. Take it out on Joe Biden. Take it out on Kamala Harris. Take it out on Alejandro Mayorkas. Take it out on Gavin Newsom. Take it out on your J.B. Pritzker in Illinois. Take it out on Kathy Hochul in New York. Take it out on all of the elected officials who are trying to ignore the law. The best way to avoid all of this is to be a nation of laws and follow those laws and enforce those laws. Otherwise, you get chaos. And now you're seeing what happens. Oh, and one other thing. We keep hearing from Democrats who are fear-mongering and trying to invoke all of these tiers, trying to terrify people that there's nothing stopping them from coming after you. There's nothing stopping them from coming after you. They're going to find you and they're going to send you to a foreign country. And if you look like you're from a foreign country, if you don't speak English, even though you're supposed to be here, it doesn't matter. You don't get due process. They're going to send you away. Really? Okay. Well, we actually have a case study in that coming out of Boston, where there was a Brazilian American who was detained by ICE. Here's what happened.
Despite being detained, the 31-year-old says he still supports the work being done by ICE agents.
I showed them my ID, my passport, and my picture, and they confirmed that it was not me. They're doing their job. I still support what they're doing. Unfortunately, they called the wrong person, but I still support whatever they're doing. And I voted for Trump, and there are a lot of bad people in this country, to be honest with you, because they don't deserve to be here.
That's right. It's that simple. Look at that. That dude was like perped away with the cuffs. They thought he was somebody else. They thought he was here illegally. They thought he was a criminal. He said, no, give me a chance. Showed his ID, showed his documentation, said that he's here legally, said that he's a citizen, mistaken identity. And they said, oh, okay, we apologize. Thank you. And he said, no, thank you. Thank you, because I want this criminal to come out of here too. Good for Boston for actually running the story. You don't see much of that, do you? Nor will you. It's really a simple equation, guys. You want a better life, you want a better job, you want to help support your family economically because the country you're in is terrible. First step, fix your country. Okay, you can't do that, and you can't win. Trust me, I've been there. My ideas don't always win in elections, right? So you can't do that. Then you petition to go to another country where life can be better for you legally. But you come here illegally and think that you can break our laws because you want a job and money? Well, if we let you do that, we will eventually be just as lawless and corrupt as the country you are fleeing. And then where will we be? Follow the law. We'll enforce the law. Everything will work out. That's how Western civilization operates. Get used to it. I know it's been a while, but we're back.